Hello, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the ZapSec Modernization Series. My name is Carl Schneider, Vice President at ZapSec, and I'm joined by Ray Garg, who is our Identity and Access Management Architect. Ray, there's a tension I sense in most enterprise organizations that nobody has fully resolved yet. The fraud teams see credential stuffing, account takeover, and bot abuse hitting the customer identity layer, so they push for stronger controls. And meanwhile, the digital commerce team is watching abandonment rates climb every time you add friction to the login or the checkout. Now, both teams are right, and the identity platform sits right in the middle, serving neither team very well.
Yeah, it's a great point because we see traditional authentication was never really designed to evaluate deep fraud risk. Authentication verifies identity, you present credentials, the system checks them, and you get in. The policy is the same though, whether you're a loyal customer on a recognized device or an attacker replaying stolen credentials from a new geography.
Right, right. So security adds controls that frustrate legitimate customers, and then they still miss the sophisticated attackers, right? The customers leave, attackers adapt faster than static policies can respond.
Yep. So the shift here is making the identity system the decision layer for fraud-aware customer journeys. So we can think of it like different airport security lanes. The trusted travelers with verified histories move through an expedited path, and the higher risk travelers get additional screening. The experience is calibrated to what the risk signals indicate.
Oh, that's awesome. So the authentication decision, it changes based on the context, not just the credentials.
Exactly. The customer identity management platform would evaluate contextual signals at each interaction. So it's looking for things like device reputation, behavioral patterns, transaction risk, different geographic contexts. Is this a returning customer on a recognized device with consistent behavior so that there's minimal, friction for those users? Is something unusual where we would need to have step-up authentication trigger? So, the platform would now be evaluating risks that's changing in the session.
Right, right. So not a static policy, right? I love that legitimate customers get to move faster, and effectively attackers hit harder walls. So the CIAM layer becomes a policy-driven orchestration layer, not just a login gate. Like most organizations already run Okta, Auth0, Entra or Ping or something. The identity platform is there, but the fraud-aware orchestration is not set. So talk to me about how ZapSec does it differently. What's the ZapSec secret sauce here?
So, three things set us apart. First, we're not replacing the identity platform. We're actually adding a governance and orchestration layer on top of what's already deployed, like Okta, Auth0, Entra, or Ping. The organization keeps its investment, but they get a fraud-aware decision layer that operates consistently across every customer touchpoint.
Mhm.
Secondly, our delivery is very structured. It's not manual and ad hoc. So we bring frameworks that define the identity orchestration patterns and the fraud-aware authentication policies. We come with blueprints that give teams proven and implementation-ready architectures for adaptive identity management, and these come from real enterprise engagements. And third is the automation. So we deploy continuous monitoring and enforcement across different customer journeys. So governance is not drifting as the environment scales. If a new fraud pattern emerges or a policy, falls out of compliance, then the automation will surface that and it'll enforce the correction. That's the piece that most organizations are missing today. They build the architecture once and nobody watches it.
Right. All right. So our approach is platform agnostic, it's implementation ready, and it's continuously governed. That is a good differentiation.
That's how the organizations are able to move from static CIAM configuration to a living fraud-aware identity architecture that's able to protect revenue at every interaction.
Right. Right. The customer identity platforms are no longer just login systems, right? They're security and revenue protection control planes for digital business. And if your CIAM layer still applies the same policy to every user, regardless of the risk, well, that's just revenue left exposed.
Yeah, so we want to protect that revenue by protecting the identity and adapting the journey to the risk.
Awesome. Agreed, Ray. It's important to utilize the platform to its greatest ability. All right, everyone. Thanks for watching. Don't forget, ZapSec helps companies maximize their ROI and minimize threats. We do cybersecurity every day. We've been there and done that. If any of this resonates with you, we'd welcome a conversation on how to bring this sort of transformation to your organization. Visit zapsec.com or reach out to Ray or myself directly. Our email addresses are visible at the beginning of the video.